thank Coach Philbin and his family, Diane, his wife, for 4 great years with the Dolphin organization and truly giving this organization everything we have. It was important today that we try to handle everything with as much respect and dignity as we could, and we had good conversations. Steve did, I did, with Coach Philbin, and again, he gave us everything he had for 4 years. Obviously, things weren't going as well as we had hoped this year. Steve made the decision this morning, and then we moved forward accordingly. Turning the page, we made the decision this morning because this season is only 4 games old, and when we made the decision to make Dan Campbell our interim head coach, it was the thinking that, again, this season is 4 games old, and we can still accomplish all of our goals this year. Not a 3-year rebuild, but in 2015, the Dolphins we can achieve all our goals that we set out for. Dan played in the NFL for 11 years. He's coached for 6. He brings leadership, toughness, and energy, and I'm really proud to have an opportunity to work with him. With that, I'd like to introduce Dan Campbell.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mike. First things first, with Coach Philbin, I have the utmost respect for Joe. I mean, he's been nothing but a class act for us, and I've learned a lot from him. He didn't have to hire me back in 2011, but he did. I was part of the old staff, and I'm forever grateful for that. There's a lot of things that I'll take with me that I learned from him. As to what Mike had said, just talking about this roster a little bit, that being said, this is my 6th season with the Miami Dolphins. And this is the most talented roster that we have had in those 6 years. Okay, so we have plenty of talent. Okay, we have the people in this building. We have the staff. Okay, there may be some things that have to be moved or shuffled as far as that goes, but I need to sort those things out. But we have enough to win. Okay, we have to change the culture. I have to change the culture, and that's what I intend to do. And what that means is we need to become a more aggressive front or team in general. We need to get our front 4 on defense, our front 5 on the offensive line, just as a whole. We need to breed a culture of competitiveness, finish, and intensity. And to me, that's where it all starts. That's where we have to change it. We change it in practice. Okay, we make it much more competitive. We need these guys to go after each other a little bit. To me, the best teams that I've been a part of are the ones that during the week they go after each other, whether it's practice squad versus defense, they're giving the look, or practice squad versus offense, but it gets heated, okay, and it's intense, and it's people that are fighting to win. All right, they want to get noticed, or they want to do their job. It's not just going through the motions. To me, that's what's got to change, and if we'll start there, I think we'll be in the right direction. I know that'll put us in the right direction. And then we'll go, X's and O's will come later from there. I'm appreciative to Mr. Ross for the opportunity. I had a talk with him earlier today. I talked to Mike, I talked to Mr. Ross, and, this is the 5th organization that I've been a part of, and nobody on those teams has spent more resources or is committed more to wanting to win than Mr. Ross. That is the fact. He'll do, and he told me when I talked to him earlier, he said, whatever you need, I'll be there for you. So whatever you think you need, whatever it takes to turn the team around, you've got it. So that's fortunate to have an owner that is that way. So, and that's what I intend to do. And I'm appreciative for the support.
Now we'll open up to any questions.
What makes you the right individual on this staff for this job right now?
What made me qualify, or
Yes.
I feel like I relate to the players. I feel like that I'm somebody that understands them. It doesn't mean I'm their best friend, but because I've been in that locker room and I understand what it's like when you have, I've been at the top, I've been at the bottom. I understand what it's like to hit that roller coaster. I understand what it's like when things start going not the way that you want them to go, and what it takes to bring people back. I feel like I've always been been, whether it was a player or a coach, that can pull the best out of people. I feel like everybody is different. No player is the same. No coach is the same. And so with that, there's different ways to motivate players. You know, some players, they need a kick in the rear. Some players need to be patted on the back. Some need to be challenged. They need to be told that they're not good enough, because that's when they really rise to the top. So those are gonna be the things that I have to do, and I feel like that is my strength. I understand people very well, and I understand players. And to me, that's what I do well. That's one of the things I do well.
Dan, do you expect to keep your defensive coordinator, offensive coordinators in place?
Yeah, to be honest with you, like I said, I just found out like 2 or 3 hours ago about being interim head coach. I need time to soak all this in. I need time to really evaluate defensively what we're doing, what we're not doing. I mean, my head's been in offense, so those things will come later. I don't have time right now. I'll get to that though.
Mike, I know you can't speak for Mr. Ross, but in the offseason, you decided you wanted to keep Joe. 4 games in, obviously makes his change. What could have changed possibly in his feel for him as a head coach and what he could do for his team?
Yeah, I believe that Steve was going to be available later on, so probably be more appropriate. I don't want to speak on behalf of Steve, but what I can tell you from a general sense is, you know, we weren't happy with the direction the team was going, the results through the first 4 games of the season. Again, we felt that this was the best opportunity for us, for the 2015 Dolphins, to make the change now, to give us an impact, to give us a better chance to win, you know, this season. And as we talked about earlier, you know, Joe did everything he could, you know, for this team, for this organization. The record was what it was, and we just felt like this was the time was now with the bye week, with 12 games still left to be played this season.
Dan, you said the best teams that you've been on, they were tough. They got after it in practice during the week. Is it fair then to assume that you haven't seen enough of that here?
I would say that's fair to say. You know, what we've done a good job of is being mindful of the fact that we're trying to keep these players fresh and ready to go on Sunday, and who wouldn't? And we still have to be able to approach it that way. However, I feel like there's a lot more that we can get out of these guys, and we need to get out of them. We need to change the culture such that, just like I said earlier, where it is so competitive on Wednesday, Thursday, maybe even Friday, that these guys, it is very intense. It is very heated. It may even teeter on the fact they have to break a few things up. But that is when you really get good. That is when the juices start flowing. That is when you get the most of your players, is when they're having to compete during the week. Because you can't just go through the motions on Wednesday, Thursday, even Friday, and then you're just gonna turn it on Sunday. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. You wanna get the most out of them, you have to challenge them. They have to be challenged. That goes from the best player we have on this team to the one that's not the best, okay? Mike Pouncey, as great as he is, he needs to be challenged every day. He needs somebody that's gonna push him every day and is trying to beat him every rep. That goes for every player. I don't care if it's Sue, I don't care if it's Cole Misi, I don't care if it's Jarvis Landry. They have to be pushed and they have to be worked, okay? They have to be challenged. And that's what I'm good. That's the first thing I'm changing. I'm gonna challenge these guys. I want them to have to compete.
Dan, when you're talking about being challenged up to this point this season,
Say that again.
do you feel that the players weren't being challenged enough up to this point this season in practice?
I feel like there's different ways to challenge these players, and I'm gonna do that.
Dan, what was your immediate reaction when you were first approached about this, taking on this new role?
It was a little surreal, but at the same time, it was something that I was willing to accept. You know, of course, when you come to the role as a head coach, there's only 32 of these spots. It's interim head coach, I understand that, but it's a little bit of, whoa, okay, what are you getting into? But it's also, I'm ready for this. I can do this. I understand this league. I understand these players. I know what it takes to win in this league. I've been around it. Just like I said, I've been around some really good coaches now. And so I know what it needs to look like. I know how I want it to look like.
And Dan, when you talk about you know, the culture and intensity needs to be changed, obviously you observed that yourself. But over time, not just this season, past seasons, had players privately complained to you that things like that needed to be changed? They were dissatisfied with those things?
No. No, I wouldn't say that. I would say that, I say no. I guess I could say there's maybe one or two players that have mentioned something about they wish it was a little more competitive, okay? But I wouldn't say that it was anything where it's like the whole team is, hey, you know, we're not doing this, we're not doing this. Listen, just by nature, let's call it what it is. There's a lot of guys that they can kid themselves, and they want to say that they're really working hard, and I'm not saying they don't. And that's one thing about this team. This is the honest truth. This team plays hard. This team plays hard. They have not quit. They play to the finish. But the facts of the matter are they're not competing, okay? And I have to get them to compete. We have to get them to compete more, okay? So it's nothing on judging their character or anything of those natures. We just have to, we got to go back to the basics, okay? And we have to learn how to fight for a win on any rep at any time. That's what we have to do. We have to learn that you're going to scratch and claw and do whatever it takes to win your one-on-one. I don't care who you are, receiver, tight end, linebacker, defensive tackle. That's what we have to do. And the only way that starts is in practice. Like I said earlier, you just can't go out Sunday, hey, I'm just going to win. Okay, there's very few freak athletes that even pull that off. There's a couple out there. There's a few that have been in history that are able to do that. But as a whole, we have some very good players. We don't have those type of players to be able to do that. So it's got to be taught. They need to see that this is the way that I want it, and I'm going to talk the talk and walk the walk, and you follow me. This is how I want it to look.
Dan, do you think you have the, just in general, feel the respect for players because you're a former player, or just your conversations since you've been here?
I think it's conversation since I've been here. I think it helps a little, the fact that I've been where they've been, and I understand what it's like. But I also feel like I've built relationships with these players throughout the years. And it's one of mutual respect. It's not one of, well, you know, I'm a guy who's gonna go out with you and we're gonna have a good time or go out to the bar. That's not what I'm talking about. It's talking about getting to know these people, getting to know these players. I feel like I have a good understanding of these players, from, you know, Rashard Matthews to Walt Aikens. I mean, I just feel like I have a feel of these guys, and I love being around these guys. That's the greatest thing about being in the NFL. Whether you're a player or you're a coach, it's being the camaraderie and being around greatness and wanting to be the best. I mean, there's so many things. And snack Saturday nights. You guys don't even know it. So that's what it is to me.
Dan, so it's safe to say you see yourself more than an interim head coach this week?
Well, yeah, I would say I'm not here just to finish the season out. That's not my plan. Now, we'll see what happens at the end of the year, but my plan is I'm not standing up here just so I can say I'm an interim head coach. Well, we're coming here to win games. That's why everything has happened to this point. And like I say, I've got the utmost respect for Joe Philbin. Okay, I've learned a lot from him, but this is where it is now. And my plan is for this team to be competitive, find ways to win games, win now, okay? And it's still early now. It's still early. We have time to turn everything around. We have plenty season left in us, but we can't wait. And I'll be honest with you, the bye couldn't come at a better time. It could not have come at a better time.
Dan, is there enough leadership on this team, and if not, how do you lead it?
Yes, it is. There is enough.
Dan, Steve Shapiro from Channel 7. Can you just go over the chronology of events? When did somebody first approach you? Who was that? And how did this culminate, or what time did this happen?
I can probably help out on that as well. You know, we had some preliminary discussions last night in terms of Steve Ross, myself, Tom Garfinkel, our president, and then
on the plane, Mike? On the plane?
well, no, it was before we left, and Tom and I flew back with the team, and then this morning the decision was finalized by Steve, and then from there, you know, we had to move obviously quickly, and I had some conversations with Dan. Steve had a long conversation with Dan, and we finalized the decision after you know, Steve spoke to Dan.
Mike, the things that we're hearing from Dan about what needs to change, were those the kind of things you wanted to hear? Is that at the root of what you think the problem has been here as well?
Well, again, you know, we're trying to figure out the best way to move forward. After 4 games, there were some things that were going well, but obviously there were a lot of things that we thought had to do better. And you know, in talking it over with Tom, Matt Higgins, our vice chairman, and obviously Steve Ross, you know, Dan's name came to the top of the list pretty quick. And we just felt, you know, again, based on Dan's leadership, experience, played, again, for 11 years, we just felt, given our circumstances, where we are as an organization, he gave us the best chance to move forward. And it's an important decision, but at the end of the day, it was a unanimous one, it was a quick one. There were a couple of conversations this morning, but we moved forward and we felt really good about the decision.
Yeah,
I would say a couple of
players
years.
were playing hard, but they weren't competing. Can you differentiate between those two?
I would say it's the fact that there's a difference between players that never give up. You know, when you never give up, everybody's looking for that quality. But just saying you never give up and you're getting beat one-on-one, that's not competing. You're not giving up, but you're getting beat. That's the difference.
Dan, do you think that players gave up at times in the first 4 games?
No,
Dan, have you had a chance to talk to the players yet?
no, I have not. I
Dan.
plan on talking to them later this afternoon.
What's your message to them then, when you get that
Go
opportunity?
ahead.
Thanks, Dan. You spoke of having a more aggressive front on both sides. Just from an on-field product standpoint, do you believe this team needs to run the ball more? And do you need there needs to be a more aggressive bent on defense as far as blitzing or allowing your defensive ends to rush up the field, not maybe read and react?
Well, there again, that's more X's and O's, and I'm just not ready to get into that, okay? There again, I just found this out a few hours ago, so there's things that I have to digest. Of course, there's things I know about offense, that what happened, what didn't happen, but to me, it's not time for that. It's time to analyze where we go from here, and I mean, that's my plan. That's what I'm gonna do, so I don't even wanna get into that.
What is your vision for your team, other than the competitive aspect? I mean, how would you want to build a football team?
That's tough to say, because to me, that's where it all starts. When you say, other than a competitive team, to me, that's where it all starts with me. Are you trying to go with X's and O's, or are you saying?
No, in terms of the vision for your football
Yeah,
team.
I can tell you, here's my vision, okay? My vision is a bunch of hard-nosed guys that go out every day for practice, and they are ultra competitive to the point that it is fueled with intensity. Okay, that these are guys that are scratching and clawing, and there is let me not go that far into it. Very competitive, very intense, very heated. We go out Sunday, okay, and it's that same team. And it's a team that is not playing conservative, or not holding back, worrying about, am I a little too close to the quarterback? Or, or should I hit him like this? Or should I? We're gonna play by the rules, but we're gonna be much more aggressive. We're gonna walk that line, is what we're gonna do. There's always the line, this is okay to do, and this is dirty. I'm not saying we want dirty players, but we're gonna walk that line. That's what I wanna do. I want us pulling the trigger. I don't want us playing conservative and playing on our heels. I want us playing on our toes, and we're going forward, and we're going through you. That's the mentality.
And is there, you mentioned all the teams you played for, coaches and stuff, is there anybody you patterned your coach you fell after, anyone who maybe had the biggest impact in you as what you can be as a coach?
No, I've had many coaches, and I would say, and I mentioned some of them earlier, from head coaches to position coaches to coordinators, and to me, I feel like I've taken a little bit of all of them with me. I mean, like I say, from Sean Payton, Bill Parcells had a huge impact, there's no doubt. There's no question. I learned a lot from Bill, and to me, but nobody was better suited to deal with players than Bill Parcells. It's funny because Bill was always regarded as a guy that you either loved Bill or you hated Bill. But you know what? Everybody respected Bill, and that made a big difference. And so, to me, I feel like I've learned a lot about what to do and what not to do, and I've taken the best quality of all of those coaches I've been around.
All right, last one here with Alan.
Dan, the vision you described for the team, is that the way you would describe yourself as a player?
I would say so, yes. I feel like I was a guy who always gave 110%. I wanted to win my one-on-ones. I was an emotional player. I was not the most talented player, but I feel like I was dependable. I could be counted on, and when my number was called, I would make the play. But I never. It's funny because from a tight end, which is what I played, let's say, and I was a grind, okay, but you line up and you play a defensive end, okay, well, they tell those guys in the defensive room, okay, if they try to run to you and the tight end's blocking you, that's not gonna happen, right? It's just a tight end. And I used to take that personal, like that used to really bother me, and I didn't wanna be that guy. I wanted to be a guy that was you got your hands full all day, and this is not just some ordinary tight end. And that's what I've tried to instill with my guys since I've been here in that room, and that's what I want to instill on this team. I want them to go out. I don't want guys just to do their job. I want guys to go out and dominate. To me, you don't just coach guys to just get the job done. You coach guys to get the very most you can out of their talent. That's the whole point. We have people in this building who bring in talent. Our job is to pull the utmost that we can get out of that talent, all right, so that we get production on the field. It's not just about doing your job. To me, doing your job is this. This is what we'll have. We'll go 8-8, 9-7, 7-9. To pull the most talent we can out of those players, that's how you win.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.